My name is Patty Kim. I'm a state representative for the state of Pennsylvania. I am one of 203 House members who discuss, present, debate bills, and pass laws for Pennsylvanians. I've been serving for 8 years, and I'm happy and proud to serve the 103rd District. I want to thank Judah Yu, the Federation President, and the Consulate General of the Republic of Korea for this amazing opportunity, and happy to share my experiences with you. I was born in San Diego, California. I lived a typical middle-class lifestyle. We had a pool in the backyard with a dog, and very comfortable. I grew up a lot in the church, though. My parents took our faith very seriously, so I spent a lot of weekends in church. My parents were very involved, and so that really framed the way I looked at life, was to be purposeful. So I originally wanted to be a nursing major. For those who are out there who have no idea what they want to do, that's totally fine, because the way I came to where I am, I had to go in a zigzag. There was not a straight line. I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to help people. I wanted to care for people, but it didn't match my strengths. So I had to pivot real quickly as a junior in college. I said, I need to do something. What do you want to do, Patty? My dream was to be a news reporter. And so I got out of the nursing school, went into communications, and I went into a whole new world. And it was so exciting. You know, I got to write, I got to edit, I got to talk to different people. And it was something where my personality matched in that new career. People say, you know, was it hard being Asian American? And a little bit of success is always about timing or luck. And so when I was in the news business, they were so desperate, especially in the DC area, to have more Asian Americans. And now in politics, women of color is so sought after. And so I feel very blessed that my timing, like I got to control it, worked with the news media and in government and politics. So my parents knew that I was different. You know, instead of excelling in school, I excelled in sports. I am so competitive. So when I said I wanted to be a nurse, and it was because of my faith, they respected that. And then throwing a Hail Mary to as a news reporter, they're just like, oh, that's Patty. We'll see whatever, you know, it turns out. But they were proud, obviously, and then they would compare me to every other Asian American anchor, reporter, and always made me feel like I wasn't good enough. Good, typical Korean American parents. But I knew that they loved me and wanted to see the best, and so they tried to support me in their way. But I am grateful that they weren't like, you know, doctor, attorney, or nothing else. They let me do and give me that space to explore, and I think it's worked out pretty good. So it is hard, especially if my parents weren't supportive of me. But we have to think, you know, in order to be successful, you have to put in so many hours in this one area. And if you don't like it, you're going to be super miserable. You know, in my job, when I have to serve and, you know, with my constituents, and I have to be creative, during my off time, I'm still thinking about work because I feel like I'm good at it, and I daydream about it, and I think about how I can do better. And that's how you get to the next level. So I know you're going to, you know, if your parents want you to do a certain way and they're going to go push back, you're going to be the one living in this job. You're going to be the one having to think about it day and night. So you need to pick something. And I think the word passion is just overused. But to pick something that you have talent, that you always have interest, and that's how you excel. You don't excel by reading books you don't like to and taking tests and doing. You're going to be miserable. And I don't think, you know, God wants us to live that way. So you have to know who you are. And then I think and trust that your parents or your family members will see that passion or that interest in you, that be like, okay, we need to let them go and do what they want. Because again, they're going to be living that job every single day of their lives. I worked in the news media from behind the scenes, doing the prompter for the news anchor. I ripped sheets and scripts and all that behind the scenes work. And I did that for, I felt, 10 long years. And then when I finally was able to go in front of the camera and be a news reporter and whatnot. But the desire to help people when I wanted to be a nurse, I wasn't satisfied in the news media. I had to cover murder stories. I had to cover the snowstorms. And I would come home and be like, you know what? I don't feel like I did anything worthwhile. Even though it was so exciting, the newsroom is crazy and chaotic, and it was fun. But at the end of the day, I just didn't feel like I was being used the way I wanted to. So there was an opportunity. Well, I actually was pregnant, and I said, you know what? Let me just pause. My news director said, you know what? I'm not going to adjust to your new baby. So I said, I'm just going to leave. And that was so scary. Again, I invested 10 years in this career, and to pivot to something different and to be a stay-at-home mom, which I think is great, but I did so much work. And in that time when I was home with my child, somebody asked me to run for Harrisburg City Council. And I thought that was a ridiculous idea. I laughed out loud, like, why would I ever do that? But then in that calmness and that quietness, it said, Patty, that is where you can serve what you've been longing for, the desire to serve other people, not maybe as a nurse, but maybe as a public servant. And so I decided to change route, and I am so glad I did. So growing up, I knew that I was very soft. I don't know the best way to say it. I always felt everybody's pain. I was the middle child. I, tried to make my parents and sisters get along, and I realized it was empathy. I have empathy, and I always thought it was a weakness. That why is soft Patty so sensitive? But through a mentor, she helped me realize that this is actually a strength. So I have empathy. I'm able to see my district, especially the ones who are most vulnerable, the ones who are poor, and to see what they need and then try to meet those needs. I'm not going in thinking, I have all the answers, I'm amazing, I'm going to just, in my own ideas, I'm going to push forward and people are going to follow. Guess what? You're going to be walking by yourself. So I like to go from behind, see what people need, what the especially, again, the ones who are most vulnerable, and then try to meet them where they are and deliver something. And I think that's what good leadership is to understand the landscape and then fill that need. I heard a motivational speaker once say that we should recycle our pain. And even though I was born here, I know what my parents had gone through, my grandmother went through. And, we as Korean Americans always sometimes feel like the underdog. We're always on the sideline. We're never celebrated, mainstream. And so I use that to my advantage because I know that I'm not alone on the sidelines. We have a lot of other minority groups who need attention and need a voice as well. And so I can tell Korean Americans right now that, we're going to depend on you to use your health, use your good education, use your speaking abilities. My parents have an accent, and push everyone forward, not just ourselves, because we know what it's like to be on the sidelines. So whenever I'm in my office serving people, I bring the Jewish American group, the Muslim Americans, I bring in all the LGBTQ, because I know what it's like to be left to the side. And so I feel, and my hope for the Korean Americans, the next generation, is to not only help ourselves, but to help everyone come together and bring us all forward. And because we know what it's like to be a minority, and also we are considered, not a true minority. I don't know. Sometimes we have an identity crisis, but we fit in a lot of different groups. And let's use that for the betterment of all of us.